It's time for everybody's favorite gluten-free sourdough bread. Let's get right into it after I tell you a story about my grandma. I'm kidding. You got to start with a very active sourdough starter like this one. And then we're going to take that and I'm going to mix in a little bit of buckwheat flour and a little more brown rice flour because they do well in gluten-free bread. Gonna take that, gonna mix it with some water and my sourdough starter, not all of it, but just enough. So here they are. I'm gonna take my sourdough starter, I'm gonna put in the brown rice flour, then I'm gonna put in the buckwheat flour, then I'm gonna add a bit of tepid water, not all of it, but like all but say 200 grams or so, and I'm gonna mix it up until it gets kind of like a thick cake batter. See, like this. Then we're going to take all of that and we're going to stick it into this here container to sit and ferment and get sour. I like how it's kind of gooey. And I like to watch it rise. It's cool. Here, check it out. Starts here, and then after a couple of hours, it's up to here. Good stuff, and it smells so good. All right, so I'm going to take psyllium husk and some salt and some tapioca starch and the starter. So I'm going to get this starter all out of this package and get it into my mixing bowl. I'm going to use a KitchenAid stand mixer for this, but you can use your hands or a spatula. All right, so get it in there, start it slow. Tapioca starch will fly out of there like a volcano. And it's also really good to plug in your mixer. I find that helps. So get that all incorporated. And while it's incorporating, this is when I usually add my molasses or honey or what's the other one I use? Maple syrup. All right, so once that's done, I'm going to add my egg and get that all incorporated. It'll come out looking like a semi-runny cake batter when it's done. Here, I'll show you. See, like that? Still smells great. Okay, so we're going to take this batter and we're going to stick it in our greased up Pullman loaf pan. These Pullman loaf pans are fantastic. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So we're going to put this into this pan and leave it to rise for another like 3 to 5 hours, depending on... Preheat my oven to 400 degrees, and while it's preheating, we're just going to let the loaf sit there and tell you about this pan. These pans are great because they're taller than your average loaf pan. Pre-made gluten-free loaves for me are about a half a sandwich, whereas this one can make you a loaf that's big enough for a full sandwich. And I want a full sandwich. If I'm going to eat a sandwich, I want the whole thing. I don't want a little tiny half sandwich. All right, oven's preheated. So let's go ahead and put that in the oven. When I put it in there, I'm going to drop the heat down to 375. I just want it to start in a hot oven. And then I'm going to cook it for about an hour. And once the hour is up, I'm going to pull it out of there. Come on, you can do it. Here we go. Wait till you see this. You're going to love it. And there we go. I'm going to let that rest for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to pop it on out of this loaf pan. Oh, hot and steamy. There you go. And once it's fully cooled, you can hear that, right? Crunchy. We've got gluten-free buckwheat sourdough bread. Make a sandwich, have a toast. Any way you slice it, it's delicious. I mean, look at this fool. Yeah, I think he likes it. I had been thinking about starting a container garden this year, but I just didn't get around to it. And then one day, I found this old container full of Cherokee purple tomato seeds and thought, what the heck. So I grabbed a little pot and I put some dirt in it, and then I poked a couple of holes in there. Yeah, there you go. You know, just not real deep. And then I dropped in some of these Cherokee tomato seeds. And I thought, well, we'll see what happens. So I got them in there, the soil was moist, and I packed it on down, and I stuck it in the window. And a few days later, well, maybe a week later, I got a whole bunch of plants. And then next thing I know, a couple weeks after that, I'm covered in plants. And I found some tomato seeds unnamed in the refrigerator, stuck them in the dirt. We had made some sriracha out of some Fresno peppers from the store, and I saved a few of those seeds. And as you can see right here, they grow quite well also. So the garden I wasn't gonna have is just sitting here in my backyard. Fingers crossed. It was the middle of the week and we were kinda bored. So we hopped in the car and we left one forest and headed into another. We drove up to Sahalie Falls, which is in the Willamette National Forest and is up on top of a mountain. I was excited. I always love having a good time outside. We brought along our dog boots because it's always good to bring your dog on adventures. The trail was awesome. Lots of moss-covered rocks and moss hanging from trees and cedar. There were wild rhododendron blooming all over the place, and the maple trees were in full foliage. There were some other wildflowers I didn't know, but I liked taking pictures of them. And the new growth on the pine trees was neat. Anyway, we walked on down this trail for quite a little while. It wasn't a super long trail, it's under a mile long, and it's nicely paved. Sahalie Falls. Best seen in the movie Homeward Bound, where the cat goes flying over the waterfall. That's this waterfall. This very loud waterfall. Boots liked it too. On the way home down a road a ways, we stopped by Subtle Lake so I could take a peek. I had gone fishing here when I was a kid and hadn't seen it for a number of years. Sure is a nice place though. I saw these succulents growing out of this lava, and I thought you might enjoy seeing this lava flow that's 1,000,000 years old that just runs through the middle of the forest. And the giant mountains that surround us are always fun. Well, that was a good day. Let's head on home. Hey, we really appreciate you watching the show. I just wanted to let you know that if I cooked something, the recipe will be down below, along with affiliate links to any of the products that we used in the program. That's just a link that tells the seller who sent you. So we get a little bit of an advertising kickback and you don't pay any more, and that's a win-win for everybody. If you want to buy us a cup of coffee, we also have a donate, a Ko-Fi, that's Ko-Fi, coffee, Ko-Fi, however you want to say it. Link down below. And finally, we have a Discord server if you want to chat or if you have questions about what you saw on the show today. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time. The last one I gotta remember is we have a Discord server if you want to just come and chat. We're online a lot of the time. So poop snack, I'm gonna do this again. Hey, who loves you, baby? Okay.